Right, morning YouTubers, Facebookers and Instagrammers. It is Friday, that Friday feeling. The weather's cooled down, makes dog training a lot easier. Really opens up the day for more time to be able to get out and do a little bit of training with those dogs. Right, well what I wanted to talk about today was getting that puppy for the first time. I know I seem to repeat myself a lot on a lot of these videos, but most of my work, a lot of the time, 60% of the time, is the same issues over and over again. I know it's easier sometimes to be able to show you with the dog, but I think the spoken word, not the gospel, the spoken word, just explaining how to do things, might not be as interesting to watch, but if you listen, you really can learn some things that are going to make bringing up your young puppy that little bit easier. Now, the one thing that I will explain straight away is that I'm predominantly working towards training people that are bringing up a working breed gun dog in a home environment. That is probably 60 to 70% of the people that I deal with. The other 30% of people maybe have a kennel and are a bit more experienced. And those are the sorts of people I'm helping generally with other things. But if you're one of those 60% where you're getting maybe a working cocker or a springer for the first time, and you are going to be bringing it up in a house environment, then there's a few things that I recommend to do. Now, what I'm saying or trying to encourage you to do isn't necessarily always the right thing to do, in the sense that there are other options available and to do things in slightly different ways. But how I train or try and teach my clients to train their dogs is in a way that gives them the best chance of getting the best result at the end. Now, what I mean by that is how I might train, how some of my other trainer friends may train, and my trialing buddies may train, is probably going to be different. But they have a lot of experience and they can get around things the other way. I need to find ways that makes up for the shortfall in people's ability as a novice handler, and do not underestimate how difficult it can be. So that's why I try and set everyone off down a line that gives them the absolute best chance of getting the best result at the end of it. Now, generally I say, if you feel like you're not doing enough, or you really feel like you should be doing loads more, there's actually a chance you might be doing it right. And what I mean by that is most of the mistakes come about by people trying to do what they think is the nice or right thing for their puppy. Unfortunately, generally that will fall into the hands of all sorts of issues that come off the back of that. So again, as I only talked about the other week, my first objective really is to get that puppy house trained. Now, talking about house training, my advice to people is to have a crate in a room that is not next to your main room. So not a kitchen, or not a bedroom, or not somewhere that you're coming in and out all the time. You want to be able to shut a door, have a radio or a TV on in the background to drown out any noise. It allows your dog to learn to relax and be quiet. And over time, you can go in, pick up your puppy, take it out, put it on the grass, ignore it till it's gone to the toilet, give it some soft praise, have it out for 10, 15 minutes, play with it, do a few retrieves, and then put it away. And you repeat that process. And you'll be doing a lot of different things at the same time there. You'll be teaching your dog to relax and not feel that every little bit of movement that is, you're going to have to get up and go outside. The background noise is really important then. So if you're moving around outside the room and the door's shut, they're not sitting up every moment, every time they hear a little sound. Of course, if they've been asleep and then they wake up, often they need to go to the toilet, and that therefore doesn't help your house training. As I said before, maybe every short amount of time you go pick up the puppy, always carry it, don't let it walk, because often they go 5 or 6 paces and they want to go to the toilet. So if you carry them out, plonk them down on the grass, stand around. I like to ignore them until they've been. The second they go, I'll wait until they've finished, then I'll praise them. That's important, wait till they finish, because sometimes you start praising them and they're halfway through doing a poo and they don't finish off because they're excited to get the praise. I personally don't like them to have any toys. I might get them a rubber ring, which I might allow them to have in their crate, for example, for short amounts of time, but I don't leave it there permanently. The problem with toys is the dog will tend to get caught up playing with them, which is fine, you think that, but then you try and do your retrieve and you realise that actually your dog doesn't see any difference between a retrieve and a toy, and suddenly your dog is playing with your retrieve like it's a toy. You've already shot yourself in the foot. You didn't need to do that. By the way, these are not babies, they're not humans, they're dogs, okay? You know, I love my dogs, but you have to identify the difference between the two. Try not to think with your human brain. You've got to detach yourself a little bit. So anyway, you've got your crate in your spare room. You're going in and out. Your small amounts of time in, small amounts of time out. If your puppy is starting to bite. I personally never get my dogs biting me. They never bite me. It seems to happen for everyone else, and all I can put it down to is the fact that people have them out for too long, generally speaking. So once that's the case, I'll go in, pick them up, take them outside, let them go to the toilet, then I'll sit down. Normally in a corridor at home, I want to sit on my knees, generally speaking, on the floor. I'm going to hold the puppy. I'm going to throw a sock, not a ball, by the way, guys. At first, balls are great if you've got a good retrieve and a delivery later on, but they tend to bounce and roll, and the dogs very quickly can get caught up playing with this. I like a sock about the size of a ball with a couple of elastic bands around it, soft, light, easy to hold. And they're much less likely to be prone to dropping it. Dropping is the number one biggest issue with retrieving, along with not coming straight back. If you limit the space that your dog has available to it, it has less distance to go wrong. Simple as that. All about keeping blinkers on dogs, reducing options and parameters. If you do all those things, it makes it a lot easier. Don't fall into the trap of starting to put a lead on your dog and taking it for walks. Again, you will be shooting yourself in the foot. All the dogs that I see that come here that have distraction issues and get distracted by every long blade of grass is because they've been allowed to go out for too long. They've been out for walks. You don't need to do it. It's just a puppy. It's just a puppy. Just play with it in a close environment. Get it interacting with you. Get the dog into you, and don't show it other distractions that will end up making your training a lot more difficult. Those things just don't need to happen. So that's a quick update of how I see it in those early days. You know, all I'm interested in doing is getting that dog comfortable in a crate, because that's really, really important. You know, if you go out, you know that the dog's going to be safe there. Bit of background noise, a radio on quiet, bit of radio 2 or something, or radio 4. Short amount of times out, short amount of times in. Don't worry if you need to make a conference call or you're at home, put the dog away, don't have it out. That's where it's going to start to get bored and then find things to chew or misbehave or whatever. If you want to teach the dog to sit when you're giving it food, that's fine, but it's not something I necessarily do early on. And keep those sessions short. As soon as you see your dog's no longer into you, put it away. That's my best advice. Like I say, this is just my personal opinion. You can do it your own way, but this is the way that I find gives the novice handler the absolute best chance of getting a good result. Any compromise that you have will compromise your result. And again, once I said, as a novice handler, you're most likely to make mistakes on the retrieve, and that generally comes through those things that I've mentioned. Anyway, I hope this is some help. As I said, it's just my own advice personally. I'm going to do another video very soon on common issues that I see across a broad range of ages, so not just starting with the puppy point. Hope you've enjoyed that. Cheers, guys. Don't forget, subscribe, like, and I'll catch you later.